guys, and today I join you from the art studio because I am making a cover for my newest tarot journal. So stick with me and I will show you some of the techniques that I've used. Candy here, welcome back to my channel. Today I am making the front cover on this second-hand hardback book, Animal Kingdom book, which I've had for ages now. I'm trying to make a tarot journal to collate all my learning that I'm doing. Now this book, it does have some work inside, as you can see. It's got a few pages at the beginning done, which were done about 10 years ago as tribute pages when my beautiful dad passed away. And I did a few pages and then stopped, and it's always been difficult to think what to do. How do you carry on with a book that's got this at the start? You can see the pages feature hands because me and my dad were the only two people in the world I know that have got our huge, short, stubby thumbs, as you can see in the video, and it was a standing joke between us that we left thumbprints on everything. So there are a few pages. The rest of the book, the pages are glued together in clumps. This isn't going to be a book that I'm going to be ripping pages out of to build again. I want to work actually onto the pages that are there, but it's just sat with nothing in, and I felt a calling to turn this into my very first tarot journal. Yeah, so that's what we're doing today. And the plan is those first few pages with artwork for my dad, I'm going to rework those pages with a link to the tarot because I found that some of my decks, I feel the voice of my dad coming through. So that's what those first few pages are going to be reworked as, so they are integrated into the book. I'm covering up the tiger here with acrylic gesso. Probably I don't need to do this, but it's kind of like a meditative process. I always end up doing this. I think it's a way of saying goodbye to the past life of the book before I move on. So yeah, you can see him slowly disappearing. And I went and sorted through my vintage textiles, and I found these old handkerchiefs, and this one on the front, at the very front, I just adored it. The little girl, it kind of sums up my attitude to walking into the tarot and all the learning I'm doing. She's got all the things she loves around her. She's got the fairies offering her wisdom and gifts, her animals, and it was just an image I really wanted to use on the front. I've added some Alice in Wonderland imagery as well, which have glued on napkins. If you take a paper napkin, a serviette, and split its layer and just down to the picture layer, that glues on really nicely. And then these silver squares are, I've always used silver squares in my artwork to represent protection. So this front cover of the journal is all to do with the protective, fun, nurturing element of tarot and some of the messages you can get. Now the back cover, again I use a vintage handkerchief from the same set, but this time the gorilla is rather fearsome looking and smashing things on the floor, and I wanted this as a representation of the darker side of tarot. Some of those messages that kick your ass and you think, oh, okay. So that's why the back page of the cover features him, and look, he looks rather fearsome, I think. Here you can actually see me splitting those serviettes and peeling those layers apart, and you can see the thin layer with the picture on them being glued on and how easy it is to do. And you can build up the different layers of different pictures. It's just a really cheap, interesting way of creating a layered image. And all I used to glue everything down was just basic PVA, so PVA layer to stick things onto, and then a covering over the top of PVA. You can see the serviettes kind of meld into the textile, and it all kind of sits together in a glue layer that when it's dry will be transparent to hold it all tight and secure, and it just makes it all look like one image. So it's a really simple process, but it's a fun process, just layering things till you're happy with the result. Here it all is gluing. You can see like the flowers at the top, the red flowers, that's actually the serviette, the paper serviette. It will quite easily glue, and you'll see bits of the images coming through underneath as well. So it just works together to add a beautiful layered effect. The wording of the word tarot, just stick on stickers that I got really cheap, like £1 for a whole pack. Again, they're covered with a layer of glue. The pocket watch is part of the serviette. So it's a really simple, easy way to transform the cover of a book. I decided to add down the spine a piece of green lace that I'd got because the green matched the colour on the handkerchief on the back. I glued it down the side, but then left it longer inside so that I would have a page marker ribbon to use. You can also see here I'm going over some of the metal squares that were lifting off with slightly thicker PVA. Those metal squares are just they're just cake holders. When you buy like a box of pies, they come in little silver foil cake holders. It's just those cut up into little squares, and they look like metal once you've put them on. So here it is, the final book. It just sat overnight to dry. You can see the green lace down the spine. Again, I love using lace. I think I've got to think about layers. You can just see the tiger poking through there as well still, which I love. It's a nod to its past life, and anybody that does past life readings with tarot, I'm sure that will appeal. There's the front and back opened up. And again, the little girl just really summed up my attitude to how excited I am about learning the tarot. You can see the lace there left longer so it can act as a page marker inside, and I'm really excited to just start working on it, filling it with some studies. I am not going to use this as my my weekly journal for tarot, but more my learning study journal. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Really simple layering techniques, and I will see you again soon. Bye.